Hi everybody, Zach here for another episode of our flagship program, The Spideydude Experience. This episode is brought to you by our loyal patrons over at patreon.com/Spideydude Network. Pledge today and get both early access to content on the main channel, as well as entirely exclusive content, like brand new shows and commentaries for old Spidey stuff, including commentaries for the MTV series, for example, as well as the video editions for Voices from the Eyrie Gargoyles Podcast. And our Patreon first show focused on the Krakoan era of X-Men. We also want to encourage you to check out our other programs that are all available on Audio Edition. These are all over on Spideydude.com, and they're available on your favorite podcasting app. Shows like Clone Saga Chronicles, the show that started this entire network, Spectacular Radio, Spectacular Sal Buscema era podcast, Amazing Spider-Man Classics, the Slot Symposium, and the sister program on this channel, Make Mine Mayday. As always, be sure to hit the like button. It really does help us big time in the algorithm. And additionally, if you have topics you'd like to cover on a live show or in a recorded medium, make sure to leave a comment down below the description or shoot us an email at SpideydudeRadioNetwork@gmail.com. Finally, make sure to join our community and be alerted to all new updates by hitting that subscribe button and clicking on the bell. But to be clear, your viewership is more than enough for us. And if you want to hang out with us off YouTube, you can always go to our Discord, where we have all sorts of fun stuff, or you can join us on our social medias and follow us there. All the links are down in the description below. As always, we want to be making some references to visual aids and or live comments. If you're an audio listener, pay that no mind, but leave that 5-star review for us. Any and all feedback we will read on future episodes. Thank you, and without further ado, let's get rolling with this episode of the Spideydude Experience. And we are back here on the channel. I am Zach Joyner, your friendly neighborhood host of the program. It is our first episode of 2026. And as always, I don't do the show alone, thank God, because last time that happened, it was pretty dire. A long-suffering friend of the show. He is the art apologist himself, Mr. Adam. Happy New Year to you, Mr. Adam. How are you?
Happy New Year, Zach. I'm all right.
Well, we are live on the YouTube, we are live on Twitch, and we are live on Twitter. And if you are watching us live, thank you guys. If you're watching us after the fact, we also thank you as well. So tonight we're going to be talking about the 3 issues of the 3 issues of the Amazing Spider-Man as my window goes away. So we're going to be covering not only this issue 17, we're going to be talking about issue 18, and we're going to be talking about issue 19. But first, let's talk about our holidays. Mr. Adam, how was your holiday?
It was all right. It came and went quickly. Yeah, it's over now. I don't know. New Year's was fun though.
Oh, yeah. You know what I did on New Year's?
What?
I drove.
No.
I worked all New Year's. I literally worked all day, and then I got home, let the doggos out, and then I worked until 4 a.m. I had regrets the next day. I was very tired. But did you get anything for Christmas?
Things.
Well, one of the things I got for Christmas is something I'm using right now.
Oh yes, the new microphone. Yeah,
I finally got an upgrade on the microphone, so hopefully my dulcet tones sound much better with you guys. So if you are watching us live on YouTube and or Twitter, let us know. I do need to let the Facebook page know that we are live. That would be helpful. So while I'm doing that, Adam, any news that I missed over the holiday that you can think of?
I don't know. Probably just the trailer leaks.
Yeah, so I mean that's probably the biggest. Sorry about that. If you guys just heard the double audio. Hello, Amber. Welcome to the show. So we have gotten some leaks online. That's probably the biggest thing. And these leaks looked legitimate, especially if you've been following along with the Doomsday trailer leaks.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I'm posting on Facebook. And then But yeah, so join us live. Obviously, if you're watching us, yeah, the trailer leaks are interesting because it looks like, everything that we're trying to accomplish, like are hoping to see that is accomplished. Excuse me, I think is going to be, it's going to be there, and so I'm excited for it. It's my. Do you feel like, from based on what you've seen, do you feel that your hype meter has gone up? Has this influenced your hype for the movie?
Not yet, I would say.
Or are you just waiting for the actual trailer to drop?
Maybe a little bit. I haven't really sat down and watched the trailers. I've basically seen the main things from these trailers, so I probably will watch them sooner rather than later, but I don't know. I just haven't gotten around to it. But from what I've seen, it's like, okay, yeah, cool stuff, I guess.
So Amber says, how are we today? We are good. We are good. We're going to be covering some comics tonight. So shout out to everybody, man. We had a immediate jump in subscribers. So that was, or the live viewers, which is nice. So as we get rolling with this episode, obviously going to be very heavy on this, going to be very heavy on the comics. Talking with my hands got me in trouble, but knocking my microphone. I apologize. So let's, all right. So sorry. So let me pull up the first issue. If you want to follow along, you can certainly do so if you're reading the books live. So let me pull the.
Do we want to do 17 and 19 back to back, since those are?
Yeah, you want to do 18 by itself? So we'll go out of order.
Okay. Yeah, well, we can do. I don't know which one you want to do first, but
you know what? Let's do the space one, because I feel like I'm going to have more to say with the Norman one.
Okay, yeah, let's do that.
All right, so we're going to start with this particular issue. So issue number 17. Issue number 17 is obviously written by Joe Kelly. Pepe Larraz is back. Doing the artwork. Marte Garcia is doing the colors. And he also did the cover art as well. We got several variant covers. We got the Lee Bermejo, which is the Amazing Visions one, Clayton Crane, Terry Dodson and Rachel Dodson, and Stefano Caselli and Dean White did a cover. So just from the previously blurb, after Spider-Man was punched into space by Hellgate, he was saved from certain death by Dr. Xanto Starblood, an extraterrestrial scientist who agreed to make Peter stronger for his eventual rematch with Hellgate. Their research was cut short when Peter discovered that Starblood had been secretly experimenting on sentient beings. Peter freed Xantos's test subjects with the help of his new techno-arachnid suit, only to learn that the suit was yet another test subject, a living technarch named Glitch. The rest of Peter's space crew are ready to ditch Xanto for good, but Peter still hopes for Xanto's repentance and feels the pull of the promise of strength. So we go to the unknown, where we have a downed ship. We have the party, consisting of, the Island of Misfit Toys, as we previously mentioned. Now, these characters are Peter, Rocket Raccoons, Wraith the Wretched, and Symbi. And then a couple others that I just don't really care about. So we get Peter and the Wretched are like, they're shacking up. Like they're gonna have some fun. So they're having a brief conversation. And Peter's like trying not to mess with her emotions and being respectful. And she laughs at him, says, "I do not love you, Peter." And then the voice that had like been the warning gatekeeper for Peter before the Hellgate showed up, and then so Peter starts to fight her. Some aliens show up, and Peter defends his woman's honor, which is what Peter would do. Rocket Raccoon's like, "We just need to get the hell out of here. It's sabotage." And big giant fight scene occurs before the Wretched, doesn't kneel. And basically, she's like, if you want to see strength, just kneel before me and weep. They get back to the base, and Peter says it's time to go home. So just when you think it's time to go home, 1 month later, today's issue comes out. And I'm just going to say this. I thought we were going home, but I guess not. We still got this.
Not yet.
We're not going home
issue, I guess.
Yeah. So basically, there's a conversation between Hellgate and the Wretched, and they're around the Stargate, about to make the jump. Peter's love interest is like, "We will get you home." This is very much a Peter Quill, Gamora, MCU.
It does kind of seem that way, yeah.
You know, so Peter and not Gamora are in the hammock, and they're having a heart-to-heart. Peter then goes, ask for strength. Zonto says, "You shouldn't need this. You know, you don't really need this. This might change you, irrevocably." The suit glitch continues to be,
depressed.
So it's just, yeah. And yeah, he's just depressed. So then Hell's Gate show up, and Peter starts to fight him, and big giant fight scenes occur. Peter basically also gets a new costume from Glitch, so it's like basically a piece of Glitch, and it looks suspiciously like suspiciously looks like a mixture of Ben's costume with like 29.9 elements. Have you noticed that? With the cape and everything.
Oh, there was a cape?
Yeah, he has the cape.
I don't think I noticed the suit change. Let me see.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. So.
Oh yeah, that. Okay. Yeah. I see.
Yeah. You kind of see it now. So
right,
then,
yeah. He's got a 29 cape, which is. Has he always had that? That's interesting.
No.
I feel like the suit isn't that different. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, the cape, I don't remember seeing that before, so that's kind of new.
Yeah, so the end of the issue, basically, not Gamora hugs Peter. He's like, "I'm so glad you're safe."
Yeah, Peter was trying to basically leave without them.
Yeah,
the thing. He was basically he was leaving. He was doing an Irish goodbye. He was because they were like, okay, we're gonna do this to get home, but he's like, okay, I know what to do, kind of, so I'm just gonna leave them because they don't need to come back to Earth with me, and I just need to do this myself or whatever.
Yeah.
They don't really save his ass against Hellgate because he's actually given Hellgate quite a good beat down, but they come in for some reinforcements and to basically just regroup and continue to get back to Earth.
Yeah. So okay. I know I kind of glossed over the recap, but there's not much that happens in these issues.
Right.
And as pretty as Pepe Larraz's artwork is, it's gorgeous. It's ridiculously good.
There's a lot of it's really just the concepts here.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about how it doesn't feel like, Spider-Man stuff. It's good to put him out of his element every once in a while, but the concepts they're doing here, it's a lot to kind of. It's not too much, but it's kind of because they introduce the whole Hellgate is the champion of this planet, and that messenger person is part of a cabal or whatever of something.
We're getting this conspiracy that nobody asked for.
Yeah, we're getting all this lore now about this stuff, which okay, that's fine, but it's kind of like
it. Okay, it just strikingly reminds me very similarly of the entirety of 8 Deaths of Spider-Man, and this is not something that I genuinely want to see more of.
Right.
The fact of the matter is, of these 3 issues, one of the 3 has much more of my interest as a reader than the rest of them. What I think is interesting is based on the covers that the next 2 issues are going to, instead of, re-alternating between these issues, we're getting 2 issues with the Earth stuff back to back.
Mm-hmm.
And then this storyline's going to get wrapped up with Peter back from space. But the problem is that apparently Peter's already back from space in Miles's title.
Oh, well, that's like whatever.
So like,
probably takes place later.
Yeah, so it's like, dude, like we can't.
But it's also kind of editorial should probably be better about that.
Right? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Now, granted, I think it's because Miles's book is wrapping up.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to get Miles's book wrapped up. That's completely understandable. I think it's a bummer that we're going to be getting another relaunch because you and I both know, and I have a sneaking suspicion that it's going to be Bendis, which I don't think is the right call. I really don't. But we got to consider. It's amazing that Ziegler got nearly 50 issues of a book.
Yeah.
It's extremely uncommon.
Monthly too.
Yeah, a monthly book. So he's
like 4 years almost.
Yeah, he has left an indelible mark on the character of Miles. I think his run may be the definitive run before it's all said and done. I still have never liked the new costume.
Mm-hmm. The new costume is okay. I don't know.
It's so basic, bitch.
It is though. Yeah, that's the problem with it. It's like, he's got his main costume is solid.
His main costume is just,
and it,
awesome.
It's definitively his costume, but like the new one is just, it could be anybody's. So
it doesn't feel like Miles's costume.
Yeah.
And I guess it being black with the purple highlights just also is a little off-putting to me. I don't know.
Was it Wakandan or something?
Yeah, I think so. I have not. If some people have asked why we haven't done Miles on the show, and that may be a thing we do in the future, just because we're about to not have Ultimate as a separate show. So what are we going to do? We got to figure out a way to fill the space, right? We're about to have both the miniseries wrap up.
Yeah.
With Torn and Spider-Man 94. I am glad. I said we were ending it in February, and I think we are. This storyline has gone on too long.
Yeah, probably.
This was a unique experiment. It's like you're getting, old school Spider-Man and Spectacular Spider-Man. So I think it's an interesting dynamic. This is the last of Larraz's issues for a while. We know that based on solicitations, of course, that Romita is going to come back for 20 and 21. Or, sorry. Yeah, 20 and 21. 22 will have Nick Bradshaw.
That's a nice surprise.
Yeah, so Bradshaw's going to do the last. So this is the last of Larraz's stuff, but Bagley's doing the cover. And then
we're in tie-in land.
Yeah, and then we get Spider-Man Venom Death Spiral, which is going to be issue 23, 24, and I think 25. So all of March.
Well, and beyond, yeah.
Well, so allegedly 23 is coming out the 4th of March, the 18th of March, and the 25th of March. Because March and January are both 5-week months. So basically the entirety of March. Now, we have not gotten the solicitations for the issues, but McGinnis is going to be doing 25 and 23, and then Jesus Salas is going to do 24. So
Going to be interesting. Interesting dynamic. Does the love interest show back up on the Earth side?
I would say no.
I would say no too.
Will she die at the end of this arc?
Yes. I think she's going to make the noble side.
Perhaps. Yeah, I could. I'm thinking it feels like more of a possibility now, maybe.
Yeah, it just feels like the stakes. They're trying to create the stakes, and
because of her being defiant, because of her being lower class.
Yeah, so basically,
and she defies the council of whatever this is,
Council of Nicaea,
and the fact that she's a love interest, but she's not, because she's saying that she doesn't really love him, but then she's kind of lying slightly about that. I don't know.
It's a weird dynamic.
It's what happens in space stays in space, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we're writing Peter Parker as Peter Quill from the MCU, and I'm not sure I like it. And I think having Rocket there kind of invokes that type of comparison.
Right.
And so it's like Spider-Man and the not Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
And as pretty as it is to look at for me,
which it is, definitely, yeah.
The artwork is what carries the book.
Yeah.
If this had been by a lesser artist, I would have not cared even more. I want to see more street level stuff with Larraz than this wacky space adventure.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, we're getting the tie-in to the event book, and so now we're you better start reading all new Venom.
Oh,
it's like,
man. I think that is actually going to be important too. Like, Spider-Man's going to be in it, so
yeah.
I think they are actually interweaving that. So
one thing I will say about this though is that is a good way, because they've kind of set it up how the Ben and MJ reaction, finding out that Ben finds out that she has a symbiote. Honest to God, it's going to be a very interesting conversation, and I'm very curious as to how Kelly's going to approach it. Is it done for laughs, or is it done to deconstruct her dependency on Peter? So that's kind of where I'm at with it. Chat, drop your letter grades if you've read the book.
I would say too about this is that the supporting cast is okay. They can be charming at times, but the way he writes them, it just feels the way he has some of them talk and act it feels old to me.
I wonder how they're going to collect this. Do you
collect I think it's just I thought they would do it, separately, but I think they are doing it. I looked at the trades on Penguin, and they do look like they're going to be chronological. So basically how we've been reading it.
It's so dumb. This is a perfect opportunity to separate the two trades.
Yeah. But I think they probably, I don't know, they might think it's awkward to do that, which it kind of is. Like, you have even and odd issue trades, but I mean the stories would flow better, but they also probably want, I don't know.
So
I don't know if I'm liking this new 5-issue arc trade thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about that too. It's interesting because we are now almost at the 1-year anniversary for Kelly's start.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, I think it'll be interesting in a month or two in March. I think it would be a good exercise to be like, okay, we've now had a year of Joe Kelly. How do we feel about it? You know what I mean? And that's where I'm kind of going, this is fascinating, because we are at 890 or 982 83 as of the end of this episode. And just to kind of show you guys what the cover. I love this cover. This looks really good. Like all of Larraz's. You got to be kidding me. For audio listeners, my battery died on my camera. So now I'm having to adjust. So hold, please. I love the covers for both of these issues. And we're back. All right. So I do. I really love both covers. This is a fun cover. This is pretty exceptional. This is what is our cover for the episode, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was like a bit of a error when I saw the costume, but then when I read it in context, I was like, oh yeah. So yeah, like this cover goes hard.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It's it's one of the better covers of this run. And then we have this cover, and
which has nothing to do with the issue,
right?
Well, this doesn't happen in the issue, but those two characters are in the issue, but they are not fighting
Storm and Norman.
Spider Norman.
Yeah. So yeah,
and one of them isn't in the costume either.
So yeah, right. So let's talk grades. And Adam, your grade. 1 to 10. 1 to 10.
1 to 10. I'll give it
an 8 point grade for both issues, or just
I'll do both.
Okay.
I'll do 8.4 for these two. Yeah.
Guess what?
That's yours.
8.4 was exactly the last grade you gave.
Oh, okay.
The last episode. I am right there with you. I'm giving it an 8.5 out of 10.
Okay.
And the reason that I'm giving it an 8.5 out of 10 is the artwork primarily. Glitch is funny.
Yeah.
Because there's that it's that very dry sense of humor. And if you don't like that dry sense of humor, it probably is not going to work for you necessarily. But I think if this had been 4 issues and not 6, I think I'd have been probably fine with it. But now half this run has been this story and the Norman story.
Yeah.
And so by the time we get to the 1 year anniversary, like a third of the books don't have Spider-Man in them. So that's a bit of a problem. Or at least Spider-Man is Parker.
There's a Spider-Man there.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think you were right that it was a good call to combine these two issues.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to say this too. So we are going to do an ASM episode. I think this is my plan anyway, since we're not doing Ultimate this month. My plan is the next episode, we're going to do 1 ASM issue, and then we're going to catch up on the 2 trades and wrap one of the trades up, and then kind of get back on track. Just because this episode was originally scheduled for New Year's Eve, and the longer I got to thinking about it, one, trying to get people to watch on New Year's Eve might have not been very successful.
Yeah.
2, we've always traditionally taken a few weeks off in December.
Yeah.
Just because it's the holidays, my birthday's during that period of time. Just kind of, we weren't really feeling the story, right? So it's like, and I suppose before we move on to the next issue, I should probably address Walter for a second. So Walter came to me today, and I'm going to make a marker for this. So Walter came to me today, and he regrettably said, I can't do this and be fair to your audience and fair to us. He's like, I'm reading the books while we're talking. I'm not really being prepared. He basically came in as a fill-in, and because Adam was taking a hiatus, which is perfectly valid after Zeb Wells' run. And 8 Deaths of Spider-Man. God, that was such a hard story. So I completely understand him saying, and he's got his own, VTuber stuff that he's doing on his own, some of which he's brought over to see us, and which is great, and I really appreciate it. But that's a big, it's a big commitment. If your streams are doing well, to cut our streams short or something like that, and just have him, he wanted to be fair to us and the audience, excuse me. And so I did want to acknowledge that, here during the episode. So I do appreciate all of what Walter did, even making me dress up as Spider-Gwen, even making me shave my beard, which I did willingly. And his voice, he's going to be leaving voicemails and stuff like that. The voicemail line was not working earlier today, but I got it fixed. So shout out to the voicemail, 818-925-6631. That's 818-925-6631 is the voicemail line. So let's talk about the next episode or next issue. So the issue between the two issues we just covered, which is issue 18. And this has our good friend, John Romita Jr. And the issue opens with Jigsaw Jonah Jameson, walking to his apartment. His inner monologue is, "I like facts. It's simple truth, even if it's messy. I get queasy when someone tries shoving falsehoods down my throat," which that made me chuckle because that's rich coming from this man. So, Jonah is trying to figure out why Spider-Man is being a menace again. So he knows that Peter Parker's cut everyone out of his life that cares for him, including May. It's a bridge too far. And he wants to know who's trying to sell him that damn bridge. And we then have part of the intrusion, Jonah, but can we talk? I have no one else. And I'm going to say this. This was a missed opportunity, but I'll get into that in a minute. So, Norman, dressed as Spider-Man. And Jonah asks the question, has he lost his mind? We then go to the recap page, where we have Brian narrating, a.k.a. not George Santos, Jonah, Norman, and potential love interest number 4, Maria Osmani Milton, and of course, Miles Morales. We cut to the sewers, where we have a man that I did not know who this was until I was reading the caption boxes. And he's being hunted by this spider slayer type person. He gets his arm cut off. Turns out he's immortal. Do you know what happened with Phil?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I think I heard that he died or something. None of this happened in ASM because we were reading it. This was like, he went over to some other book, I think, at one point.
There's so many books,
but I don't know.
So
I think he's supposed to be, I guess he's undead.
Yeah, because he gets his arm sliced off, and it wasn't like a horrific scream.
And his head. He gets his head cut off.
Oh, yeah. So,
he's still alive, I guess.
Like the Spider Slayer reminds me of like the haircut machine that Stan Lee used during Thor Ragnarok.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like where it has all like the little different saws and stuff.
I think so.
We cut to our potential love interest number 4 at Rand Enterprises. She's talking to her son, Meanwhile, not George Santos comes in with his biohazard suit on, tries to sweet talk her, says, "Hey, I'm trying to do it," and he's saying that everything's ready. She kind of says, "Look, your entitlement's showing," and she's and love interest number 4 is very distracted. We cut back to the shit that I actually care about, which is Norman and Jonah having a conversation between one another. And is it me, or does this version of Ramita Norman look suspiciously almost like the Norman from the video game?
Maybe.
Like look at this panel. I'm going to shine it up to the camera. So for audio listeners, you see what I'm saying there, though?
A little bit, I think.
Yeah, just kind of. It's very subtle.
Mhm.
The cornrows are kind of interesting to me how he draws them with the little
Right.
he's almost got like a Peter Parker like tuft of hair.
Yeah.
So he is having a conversation with Norman, and it's interesting because this is really 2 of Spider-Man's greatest enemies having a conversation about Peter. And it's interesting. So then the Spider-Man family shows up of Silk,
Oh man.
Miles, Gwen, Aranya, and everyone's favorite Spider-Boy. So then we have like the shielded dude, the Hispanic shielded dude. So he's talking about how he's here to help and everything. So we then get to Ashley Kafka, aka Goblin Queen. She's at her therapist office when she gets attacked by the Goblin bots, Slayers.
Mhm.
And then we get back to, again, more of the shit that I'm really interested in, which is the conversation.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to hear an outside perspective on Spider-Man through characters that are there. And so Norman and Jonah clink glasses. They have a shot, and Jonah says something extremely poignant to Norman about how he believes you have the capacity to be a little bit better today than you were yesterday.
Mhm.
And so Norman leaves. We then get Ned Leeds getting attacked and stolen. We have George Santos trying to do his experiment. It blows up literally in his face.
Uh-oh.
Suspiciously drawn, just like Norman having shit blown up in his face. Speaking of Storm and Norman, bloody Storm and Norman, who is bloody from the fight last issue, shows up, and then the Slayers are all there. How they're hunting goblins, and the Goblin Slayers show up, and in my head, I had this happen. So that's how I felt like with this cliffhanger. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say it. I love this issue. I almost called you Neil. I'm so sorry, Adam. I am very tired. I worked a 12-hour day. Adam, your thoughts on this issue, my friend?
It's pretty good. The Jonah Norman conversation is the highlight.
100%.
It's a night. The thing is, this is an interesting issue because it's kind of the conversation is wrapped around like this weird the weird goblin stuff, and then other random supporting character stuff wraps around this kind of like really in-depth like symposium between Peter and Norman on Jonah and Norman on Peter. So that's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. It's okay. The Spider Squad stuff, I can do without that probably. The Goblin stuff is okay. It's setting up the next arc, or it's, I don't know, continuing this subplot that's been seeded earlier in the run. Yeah, I don't know. It's all right. It's fine. I feel like we called that that Brian would probably become a villain, right? So this is basically setting that up.
So Brian, not George Santos. We made fun of the fact that he looked suspiciously like Santos, especially when Larraz was drawing him. Yeah. But we all kind of saw this writing on the wall. I mean, if you didn't, that's a little naive. Because at the end of the day, what's the point of this character?
Right.
And now we understand that the point of the character is for him to become a supervillain. So it's okay, does he have to? This kind of fulfills the Harry role that was lost when Harry died. I get it. But this is more telling, not showing type situation when it comes to this character. So I'm like, how do I feel? God almighty.
It does show that, he's that his, impatience had a cost. Which is basically with every supervillain, I guess.
100%. And so it's going to be interesting to see how Ben...
His hubris, I guess.
Now, the question is...
what will Ben do?
Did Ben sabotage the experiment? So,
dun-dun.
It's been effective in making me want to know more about, what happened. But again...
about that,
But again, shit that I really cared about is this conversation. And there's one fatal flaw about this conversation.
Which is?
Jonah should hate Norman.
Probably.
Jonah should have just this disdain for Norman. And that has nothing to do with Peter. They've hardly interacted as a duo since the late 90s. But when they did have a connection, Norman emasculated Jonah. Because it became the devil versus a man that at that point was the downsizing of the Bugle, which for those that don't know, because there may be some new listeners, new readers. In the 90s, during the end of the Clone Saga, so we're talking literally 2 or 3 months before the Clone Saga ends.
Yeah.
It's right around the time that Marvel was starting to emerge from the bankruptcy. And so to kind of write out their frustrations with the situation, DeFalco introduces the concept of the Bugle downsizing to kind of reflect what was going on at Marvel. And Peter, who had just been brought back from Portland to be a full-time staff photographer, gets laid off. And so the Bugle is really struggling. Jonah's really struggling. But then a dark knight, no pun intended, instead of a white knight, comes in and buys half the Daily Bugle. And that is the start of a chain of events with Norman and Peter. Norman buys half the Daily Bugle just to absolutely mind Peter. And Peter lashes out. and beats the ever-loving shit out of Norman. But Norman records it all. There was a point where Jonah was so angry at Norman that he actually pulls out a pew-pew, points it at his head, and Norman laughs at his face. So if I am forced to have a conversation with an individual who robbed me of my dignity, I would have a problem not bringing that up. And I think that that's the one part of this conversation that is missing. But this very much reminds me of like the Zdarsky final issue where, and Slott did this too, where it was like, what does Spider-Man mean to me?
Mm-hmm.
This was very much, what does Spider-Man mean to Jonah and Norman, and how their paths are very similar. They both had a hatred for Spider-Man, but lesser extent with Norman. But with Jonah, it's that he loved him as like a nephew, a son. He's a father figure, which becomes weird and messy and icky when you think about Aunt May marrying Jonah's dad and all that shit.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I kind of am annoyed by. Is like, okay, we're going to reference that continuity, but we're just going to disregard anything that happened like well beyond.
Right.
Like 20 minutes of research would have told you that Norman and Jonah should not be in the same room with one another. Now, granted, Jonah is also inherently in character here because he is wanting answers. Now everything makes sense.
Yeah.
I am also a little taken aback by how like the casualness of like Ben Reilly being name dropped. Because I'm pretty sure Norman was introduced to Ben whenever, towards the end of Ben's original life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I don't know, man. It's such a good character deconstruction about like Peter and his eternal optimism. And I think that this also is a very good symmetrical tool with Peter and the crazy doctor, right? Because they both are talking about his strength. And even like, alien love interest number one, pointing out it's your heart. That's the best part of you. So if like, okay, all right, I can kind of see where the philosophical story is.
Yeah, and there's a thread that runs through both stories.
And so, so I can kind of see the connective tissues starting to form. Obviously we are definitely in the final chapters of this story.
Yeah.
But Norman as Spider-Man is a very interesting dynamic. It's going to be very interesting to see how Peter reacts to Norman becoming Spider-Man. Because it's kind of like, okay, yes, on one hand, it's just a retread from Graves Last Son. But there's not that sense of honor and duty and in that way. Norman's trying to repent for his sins, and he's trying to figure out the best way of going about it. So he goes about it the wrong way, which is inherently a Norman Osborn thing to do. But this is the story that the good Norman storyline originally should have been. Like, if Norman's going to be good, how is it that he gets to, how does the rest of the supporting cast, extended supporting cast, react to such a thing? That's the interesting part. So we have a comment. You posted it both. So Quillsniv, hey, it's Neil. Amazing Spider-Man under Kelly is the equivalent of a plain bagel with Pepe Larraz as the sweet cream schmear giving it flavor. Just under Kelly, not the Kelly. I just realized that I posted only in the vertical stream. Jesus Christ. So yeah, no, I don't disagree with you there, dear friend. He had made this observation before the call started because I accidentally butt dialed the group. Oops. And yeah, so here again, your thoughts, Adam, kind of reflect on what I've said and kind of make your own.
Yeah, I can see now like the thread between the space story and the Norman story, kind of basically just all about Peter's character.
Yeah, and this is where I'm going to say this as well. It's nice to actually get a character study in ASM.
Yeah.
It just hasn't been done in such a long time that I think it's like we've kind of taken for granted that it was superficial. Look, I have said the heart of Spider-Man's character is not youth. It's responsibility. If at the end of the day, Peter's sense of responsibility becomes the driving force behind it, then that makes all the sense in the world. Like, to me, that makes the story worth it. But I was much more interested in this and the Earth stuff, and I think that's kind of an overall broad. I know that other show had kind of made similar comments from what I saw, and it is interesting. The Norman as Spidey feels more like a Spider-Man story. Excuse me. Than Peter and the Not Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Is. And I can give two shits about Hell's Gate. Hell's Gate, I'm not going to lie, looks so much more badass under Larraz's pen than Romita Jr. It's going to be interesting because we were talking about that. Or, I don't know. Were we on the stream when I was talking about like what's up next? So, yeah. So it's interesting that neither one of these artists are drawing Spider-Man for at least 2 months.
Yeah.
Give me the mango with the sweet cream schmear. Hopefully I did that justice for you. Give me Larraz. Okay. Are you wanting me to just do Alex Jones? Give me the bagel with the sweet cream schmear. Give me that Larraz goodness. That's what it is right there. There's a war for your mind. You know, you could be saying these things on the air, but you're like, no, I don't want to be on the show. So, all right. As we get to the wrapping up portion of the episode, your grade, Adam, for this issue.
I'll give it an 8.6.
8.6. I mean, it's different artwork, but do you think it's the story that bumps it up?
I mean, I think Romita Jr. is solid in this one, honestly. The story is kind of, the main Jonah Norman conversation is great. The other stuff is like whatever. So I would say the story is like, mostly good, but then, everything else is just kind of like, I don't know. They needed some, subplots to continue subplots.
Yeah.
Which is fine because I think that the Jonah Norman conversation plays out as much as it needs to. Unfortunately, without your preferred bit of continuity, but other than that, I would say like the conversation itself is good.
And I get that I'm nitpicking from a time period that's not one
that they don't care about.
Yeah, like nobody cares about it but me.
Right. Well, I mean, there's some pretty good stuff. That's that's underrated stuff from the bit that I've read. I haven't read a lot of it, but I did have a Peter Parker subscription around that time.
Shout out to Ethan, friend of the show, co-host of the Forgotten Era podcast, a podcast not associated with the Spideydude Radio Network, but that I appear on quite frequently. He's went in and scanned all those original books that are part of that era that are not on Marvel Unlimited. And yeah, I really love this issue. I'm giving it a higher grade than you. I'm giving it an 8.9. I think it was really, really good. And I think it's, again, you're right that the goblin hunting is not something I'm like giving a shit about. Spider Slayer stories, I've always been a guy that takes it or leaves it. So Goblin Slayer type thing is an interesting dichotomy.
I think it's okay. Like they need something for him to go out on,
Right.
One last hurrah, Spidey. So like, okay, like we're hunting goblin people, sure.
and honestly, the rotation should have just been Larraz and McGinnis. They're much more stylistically simpatico than Larraz and Romita Jr. I mean, Larraz and Romita Jr. are like diametrically opposed, which I think for here sort of works. You know what I mean? Like, because you're telling two different stories, two different areas, two different elements, that it works here. I don't know if you can do that in the next third of, after we get through the culling, or the I almost called it the culling of the symbiotes, but like the Venom War thing, or the, what is it called? Spider-Man Venom Death Spiral, Aren't you glad that we're going to have so many tie-ins to that book? Aren't you glad there, Adam?
I mean, it's not, I guess it's really just, I think it's really only just Venom and ASM, so it's not that bad.
Reminds me of Minimum Carnage, because that was Venom Scarlet Spider.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're approaching the hour mark. And I'm getting sleepy. So that's what happens when you've worked 12-hour days, 3 straight days. So let's talk about the Patreon page. Any final thoughts before we get going?
No, not really.
Adam, where can they find you on the internets?
Enchilada Legs on social media sites around the internet.
Blue Sky, Twitter, places like that. All right. Speaking of, we've got our Patreon page, patreon.com/Spideydude Network. The Patreon page has all sorts of fun goodies, including the Voices from the Eyrie video versions of the show. We've also got, which has dropped a new episode. They dropped one on Christmas, and now they're dropping one, I think, this week. So keep your eyes peeled for that. New Mayday is coming soon. Me and Kelly are trying to plan that next episode. Books of X is also up on the Patreon page, patreon.com/Mayday Network. If you have not already checked out our original shows like Clone Saga Chronicles and Spectacular Radio, I recorded the final Sabusema Era podcast episode. I already made the bagel comment. Damn, Neil. So Sabusema Era podcast, we've recorded the last episode of like it as it's presently constructed. There's still some more Web of Music, I think, to come on the feed. We'll figure that out as we go. And yeah, so we have our Patreon page, patreon.com/Spideydude Network. We got our sensational tier of patrons like Allison, Cindy, Casey, Doug, Ed, Eric, Georgia, Greg, Janelle, Jessica, Joyce, Catherine, Kale, Laura, Howard, Lump Moose, Master Drama, Phoenician, RJ, Vanessa, Vicky, and David, as well as Ian. Thank you guys for being sensational tier patrons. We got our spectacular tier, Tara, and Ryan. Thank you guys for your support. The VIPs like Vinkman, Walter, and Lord Eric. Thank you guys for your support. Over on the Patreon page, patreon.com/Spidey Network. The Friendly Neighborhood tier got their audio shout out at the audio beginning of the episode. So thank you guys for all of your support as we move forward into 2026. If you like what we're doing, be sure to follow us on the social medias at Spideydude Radio on Twitter, at Spideydude Network on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads, at Spideydude Radio Network on YouTube. I also want to, you know what? Before we get out of here, this is the first live stream since we hit the 1,000 subscriber threshold. So I wanted to take a moment and thank you all. I'm going to make myself solo for a second. Thank you guys for your support. Honestly, you couldn't have, I cannot have asked for a better birthday gift than the one I got when we got the 1,000 subscriber mark, and we are now on to the next 1,000. So we really do appreciate everybody's support. We were pushing it pretty hard, and we're just going to continue to lock in, get better, get bigger, get better, and hopefully you guys like what we got coming up and what we're cooking. But back to our outro, of course. If you want to leave us a voicemail, the voicemail line, I should have probably checked the voicemail before we got on the episode. So no new voicemails. Oh, wait. So we do have a voicemail. Damn. And I talked about Walter a minute ago, so he decided to call in and leave us a voicemail. Let me know if you can hear this. Okay, we're just going to download it. Come on now. Sorry for the dead air, folks. Just trying to get the stupid thing to play. Play. For the love of God, play. Play, you funky music, white boy.
Hey guys, it's Walter. I just wanted to give you a little heartfelt farewell message. I enjoyed my time on the show. I wish I could continue, but I wouldn't be able to do it the justice it needs for me to be there. I've been a little distracted, and quite frankly, I don't have time to really read the books like I have, and I don't think you really want someone on this show that's reading the books as you're doing the recap and not really allowing themselves the time to think things through. And I did have fun. If Zach's willing, I may pop up every once in a while for like a little short guest spot or like maybe a one-shot type deal. I don't know. It's up to Zach. But I did have an immense amount of fun. I did enjoy being part of your show. And thanks to all the people that have supported you. And have a happy new year. Hopefully your holidays were good. And I'll see you around the internet. Bye.
Thank you, Walter. I know sometimes we make jokes about you leaving the Joker level of voicemails, but that was a great voicemail. I have appreciated you. As I mentioned earlier, we are always looking to add new talent to the roster, especially if you're reading ASM. We want to continue to grow. And if you have thoughts that you want to, espouse about it, just let us know. Let me know by leaving me an email. The email address is SpideydudeRadioNetwork@gmail.com. If you enjoy what we're doing, like, let us know. We would love to hear from you guys. And this is goodbye to him being a regular fixture on the ASM shows. But who knows? We'll see what happens. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Adam, your final thoughts for the episode.
Yeah, what you said. Actually, yeah, more feedback would be cool because, just it's nice to hear, like, if we're doing well, I guess. Even
if you like what we're doing, let us know. And
even if we're doing terribly, okay? If we're doing terribly, let us know.
Yeah,
too.
man. Like the only way we can get better as a podcast is if we get, friendly, constructive criticism.
Yeah.
If you say that we just suck and then there's nothing else, I'm going to be like, well, what are you doing?
But yeah, feedback, some feedback every once in a while would be nice to
I
hear.
would love to do
Just
an
like,
episode where we're just
is everyone like, is anyone listening to this?
Yeah, we kind of give us validation, please. Please give us some validation. We desperately need it. So, like I say, thank you guys, everyone, for your support. As always, we will be back with another episode. So, as I mentioned earlier, next episode, the plan for next episode is we're going to be covering, I think we're going to be doing a Black Cat episode. So, we're going to be covering Black Cat. I think it's either going to be next episode or the following. And it's going to be me and Ashley talking Black Cat, maybe having Neil on. I don't know, because he likes Gleb. And then, onward and upward, man. So happy 2026. Happy New Year, Adam.
Happy New Year, Zach.
All right. And let's wrap this episode up. Thank you guys for your support, as always. And we will see you next time here on the Spideydude Radio Network.